Welcome guys, this will be the meta tier list for patch 13.20b. Let's go! Okay, so this is a list of units you need to focus on. Azir has been a consistent backline source of damage for many composition. He's also very flexible to work with as well too. Vel'Koz is a wonderful method of win streaking with a Void starter or maybe a multicast starter. You can go for rerolls or you can transition into value like the Azir above. 9 Noxus has been consistent in getting first place, of course. 9 Noxus and 9 Shurimas alongside with Azir. And Jarvan, if you just use Dimash and Jarvan in any composition and give Jarvan a Warmogs and a Gargoyles, he will be an S tier tank that will perform very well. I currently do not recommend going for 1-cost rerolls because all the 1-cost has been nerfed, whereas most of the 2, 3, 4-cost carries has been buffed. It's not going to be a good fight. The only composition that maybe could get you top 4 is to build into a Cassiopeia 3-star for damage, plus a Cho'Gath 3-star composition into maybe 6 Bruisers, and hope that you can out-snowball your opponents. But besides that, it isn't really recommended. You only go for 1-cost rerolls if you're offered to you naturally with a full win streak by stage 3-1, but otherwise, you do want to transition into better options such as multicast or 4-cost carries. Now, there are two main 2-cost carries you can take. Number one, you can take the multicaster TF route to build into Twisted Fate 3-star and Galio 3-star for frontline value, or you can go for the 4-Zon overcharge route and use the overbuff Zama's to make an unkillable Warwick while using Jinx as a backline damage carry. When building into Twist Fate, you have to be careful because if you have a Vel'Koz 2 and a TF2, Vel'Koz 2 is usually stronger, and that is because Vel'Koz 2 has better backline access. His ultimate hits the backline way more consistently, but TF only hits the front line, so if the enemy has a good front line, you're going to take a lot of damage. So be careful when going for TF for that logic. And when you're going for like the 4-Zon overcharge, you do need Hextech Exoskeleton, the Zon mod that makes Warwick nearly unkillable. The other ones are fine, but they are not as OP, so never forget that you do need Hextech Exoskeleton, and maybe Shimmer Injector for Jinx, which would be very decent. There are other 2-cost carries that you can consider going for, but they are very conditional, so only go for them when you have the right angle to go for, like Ionia Ashe, Double Trouble Talia, or maybe Soraka, Demon Flare Swain, and even Ravenous Hunter Warwick. They're all fine, but you do need to win streak and find the upgrades very fast. Now for the 3-cost carries, the main performers are Queen and Vel'Koz. You can go for 6 Voids with Vel'Koz, but the multicast variation is far stronger. When building into Dimash and Queen, the focus is to make sure that Queen can one-shot the enemy backline, so you need as much burst damage as possible. That's why we have IE and Giant Slayers. And all you need is Warmogs and Gargoyles for Jarvan to be nearly unkillable. And these are your 2 Dimashian Radiant Itemization targets. Amongst the other decks are also very conditional, like for example, Misfortune requires the Bilgewater synergy. You got to build into Bilgewater at least 7 for it to perform. Rek'Sai 3-star requires 6 Bruisers. And when you go for a Karma carry, never forget that you need an Ixtal to be fire so that you can have the extra damage. Otherwise, you will lack the DPS to take down your opponents. Of course, other 3-cost units like Nautilus works with Misfortune. Nico and Taric also works with Karma as well too, so they are a part of the group, but you do need to high roll. The comps at the left side are way more consistent. Now there are 3 main routes you can take when going for a 4-cost carry. It can be Shuriman's, Noxus, or Vanquishers. So you can go for an Azir carry with attack speed scaling, or Mordekaiser Noxus carry with the double rapid fire cans for the range, or you can go for the Vanquisher carry, and when building the Vanquishers, both backlines are fine. If you have Nyla, you can use Nyla. If you have Xayah, you can use Xayah. You only use Nyla if you have the rapid fire cannons, but other case scenarios, you do want to rely on Xayah because her damage output is also very powerful. The Vanquisher frontline is used with Sejuani with Warmogs and Gargoyles, whereas the Shurima frontline is used with Nasus with Warmogs, Bramblevest, and Dragonclaw, so Nasus will be hard to kill. The Noxus frontline is usually the Noxus units like Swain, Scion, and so on. It doesn't really matter what they use because the Noxus synergy makes all Noxus units very hard to take down. Right now is a 2, 3, 4 cost focus meta instead of a 1, 5 cost meta. So the 1 and 5 costs aren't really that important. They're more of a happy accident, but nothing too special to go for. But if you want to use 5 costs, you want to use them as synergy spat fillers. So you give a spatula itemization to them and they will perform pretty well. Itemizations that work best with Aatrox and Ahri should be considered first, especially a lot of people don't know about Aatrox. You want to give Aatrox IE and Quicksilvers. Quicksilver so he doesn't get stunned. Being stunned for an Aatrox is very huge, considering that there is a big delay in his damage output. And you give Sterox to make sure that he gets the bonus AD, and he will lifesteal from his Darken and the Slayer synergy. And when you build into Ahri, you want to make sure that she has blue buff so she can ult instantly. And then after that, you just want as much damage as possible so that she can take down the enemy team. Alright, this is the full meta tier list for patch 13.20b. We will be doing a tier list series for every a patch in the future as well too. So I hope you guys enjoy. Never forget, if you guys have any questions, ask in the comments below. See ya!